President Trump announces sixth generation fighter, the F-47, is heading into production. Now, generally speaking, whenever you want to bury or hide news, you drop it on a Friday, especially late on a Friday. I'm not sure why this particular piece of information was dropping on late Friday, because this is good news, at least if you're a fan of the United States and the U.S. military's dominance over the world. Here, if you look on the screen, this is an artist's rendering delivered by the Air Force, so I assume it's going to be pretty darn accurate. And my gosh, does that look mean? Holy cow. That's a bad looking boy. I mean, just from the aesthetic perspective, that's really cool. It looks as if it's got quad wings instead of just two little fins up front. I'm not sure if that's just a play on the shadows or what. It also looks as if the wings are inclined from the body, which is a drastic departure from what we've seen from American aircraft in the past. It's almost like a like a Klingon bird of prey for those of you who are Star Trek fans. President Trump himself, with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at his side, announced the news today.
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built. An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years, and we're confident that it massively overpowers the capabilities of any other nation. There's no other nation. We know every other plane. I've seen every one of them, and it's not even close. This is a next level. Level 5 is good. This is level 6, they say. The F-47 is equipped with state-of-the-art stealth technology. It's virtually unseeable and unprecedented power. It's got the most power of any jet of its kind ever made. Maneuverability, likewise, there's never been anything like it, despite the power and speed. Its speed is top. It's over 2, which is something that you don't hear very often. America's enemies will never see it coming. Hopefully we won't have to use it for that purpose, but you have to have it. And if it ever happens, they won't know what the hell hit them.
So he said it was going to go the speed of 2. I'm assuming he means Mach 2, which would make it comparable to the F-22, which is currently the 5th generation fighter, and what many, I would say most experts believe to be the most advanced fighter jet in the air today. And if the F-47 is as fast, or perhaps even faster, then that would be good. The one advantage that the MiG has, the 5th generation MiG has, is that it's faster. It's like, I think it's close to Mach 4, or it's at least Mach 3 point something, which is pretty darn fast, much faster than the F-22 or even the F-35. And if I'm reading what President Trump said correctly, accurately, then I would assume that the F-47 would be as fast, if not faster, than the F-22, but not quite as fast as the MiG. Let's get into some details here. According to AF.mil, this is the Air Force's official site, Air Force awards contract for next generation air dominance platform, the F-47. Now, brace yourselves, because the bad news, if there is bad, maybe this is why they put it out on a Friday night, is that Boeing, yes, that Boeing, they are the ones that got the contract. Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to actually build a plane under the Trump administration differently than they were building planes under the Biden regime. We'll see. Let's pray that is the case. According to the article, the press release rather, the Department of the Air Force announced today the contract award for the engineering and manufacturing development of the next generation air dominance platform, marking a major milestone in the advancement of air superiority. The contract awarded to Boeing will lead to the development of the F-47, the world's first 6th generation fighter aircraft. And there's another artist's rendering. Again, it's obviously they don't want to give away too much. They'll have I'm sure a live reveal sometime in the next year or so, but this is the best we have. Now, one quick note, just as a side note, I was, and many of my knowledgeable military friends, I've been under the assumption for a while that the 6th generation aircraft, warfighting machine in the sky would be a drone. I really thought that. I thought that, and this appears to not be a drone. Perhaps it does have drone capabilities. Perhaps it's actually has some artificial intelligence capabilities. The timing of this is very particular and very, very telling, I would say. They declared that it is DARPA who has, of course, helped to develop it with their X-planes, as they've been called, flying around very mysteriously. They're going up, and some of them going up for very long periods of time, not just like a quick mission. They go up, and then they come back down like a week or two later. It's sort of bizarre. And this is apparently obviously not the same plane, because this looks very different from the shots, the glimpses that we've gotten of the DARPA vehicles. But this one is apparently extremely different, and they have been working on it. It's been flying for 5 years now, which that would make a whole lot of sense. The program itself was actually halted, or at least postponed, back in May of last year under the Biden regime. They didn't specify. They gave some weird stuff. Let's get back in the article, though. President Trump, as you know, he said, "I'm thrilled," yada, yada, yada. We heard that. This decision follows a fair and thorough selection process. Great. So I guess Boeing was able to win out. More of what Trump said. Here it is. In May 2024, the Air Force conducted a strategic pause in the program to ensure it was making the right decisions for its warfighters and for the security of the nation. In other words, they're not going to tell us why they paused. But during this time, the Air Force continued collaborating with industry to aggressively mature critical technologies and accelerate innovations. And again, I would assume that those do include everything from radar and communications to engaging with artificial intelligence, perhaps for targeting, for example, which I know that terrifies many of us. But hey, as long as it's on our side, and as long as the wrong people don't get their hands on it, I think I'm okay with that. And then, of course, the drone capabilities. I think it's a safe assumption to say that there will be drone potential here. Pretty much to be clear, any aircraft can be manipulated to become a drone with today's technology. So I would be shocked if they did not have that as an option. And to be clear, they wouldn't announce that, if not today at least, if that were the case. This is according to Pete Hegseth. He says, "Now we have the F-47, which sends a very direct, clear message to our allies, and we're not going anywhere, and to our enemies that we can and we will be able to project power around the globe unimpeded for generations to come." Hegseth stated that the F-47 represents a significant advancement over the F-22, which is currently the U.S. Air Force's primary air superiority fighter, and as I noted, arguably the most deadly fighter in the air today. Yeah, he added, "This is a historic investment in the American military, in the American industrial base, that will help revive the warrior ethos inside our military, which we're doing, rebuilding our military. We know this is cheaper, longer range, and more stealthy," and I'm glad to hear that. I forgot the price tag on the F-22, but it's like, wow. That's like, wow. It's a lot. As the cornerstone of the NGAD family of systems, the F-47 is designed to integrate next-generation stealth, sensor fusion, and long-range strike capabilities to counter the most sophisticated adversaries in contested environments. Its adaptability and modular design ensure seamless integration with emerging technologies, positioning it as a dominant platform for decades to come. And for those who aren't familiar with modular design on military vehicles, it basically just means it can be very easily upgraded. There are certain great designs that weren't modular, Warthog, for example, that it would, to make adjustments to them is difficult. Whereas with a modular design, let's say you got a new material that they come up with that makes the wings better. I'm just using that as a very, very odd example, but with a modular design, you should be able to detach the old wings and just stick the new wings on it, and everything just plugs in nicely. That's the very layman's and probably not exactly accurate way of expressing it. According to Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin, With the F-47 as the crown jewel in the next-generation air dominance family of systems, we believe that this provides more lethality. It provides more capability, more modernized capability, in a way that is built to adapt along with our collaborative combat aircraft. In other words, I stand by my drone perspective. Over the past 5 years, in strong partnership between the Air Force and the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, or DARPA, X-planes have been laying the foundation for the F-47. These experimental aircraft have flown hundreds of hours, advanced stealth, range, and autonomous systems while refining operational concepts. Hopefully, this magnificent plane, this is Trump. Whenever you hear the word magnificent, you know it's Trump. Hopefully, these magnificent planes will be built and in the air during my administration. It's ready to go. They've already built much of what has to be built in terms of production, including the sheds. We will ensure that the USA continues to dominate the skies. Amen to that. And look, I know some of you out there are, whenever there is a development like this, first thing you think of is, oh, great, this is just an invitation for us to get involved in more foreign wars, get more active and aggressive. It's not the weapons, okay? That argument, to me, is nonsensical, because it really does come down to the people in charge. It's just like saying, well, there's gun violence. No, there's no gun violence. There's criminals that commit violent acts with firearms. You don't say it's gun violence. That's, it's like saying, vehicular attack. No, some lunatic just drove his vehicle through a crowd of people. Don't blame the inanimate object for anything that happens, just because we are developing something that can help to defend America and help to help us maintain our air superiority in pretty much every combat venue, then I think that's a very good thing. I have no problem with advancing technology. It's how that technology is used that differentiates between whether or not this is a good thing or not. It's the people who are in charge, whether by elected official, by bureaucratic appointment, or by deep state involvement. Those are the people that should get all of the credit or all of the blame. Thank you so much for watching that video. If you have not already, now would be a great time for you to subscribe and to give me a thumbs up. It's just a couple of clicks, but it dramatically helps me, my family, and of course it helps the United States of America.